What's up, guys, and welcome to Tim Talks, the real estate show where we talk about real estate, life, and a little bit of everything else. Ethan, hit the music. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of Tim Talks. Today, I am here with a very special guest, and she's very special because she is our cameraman's wife, Heidi Swihart. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Ethan, we forced Ethan to bring his wife in for this. We're really happy to have her on the show. So the reason I wanted to bring Heidi onto the show was because we're going to be doing a little segment where I bring in a prospective buyer because the Swiharts are thinking about purchasing a home down the road. And then in a few weeks, I'll bring in a former buyer, one of my former buyers, and he's going to talk a little bit about his experience buying a home. And then we're going to kind of mesh those two together. We want to give you guys a perspective on what it's like to be a home buyer, because that might be something you're thinking about. So, Heidi, thanks again for coming on the show. Yeah. So, funny story, actually. Heidi, you probably remember this. So, we both went to George Fox University together. It's here in Newburgh. And very funny. I actually entered George Fox as a freshman as an elementary education major. Mm-hmm. My dad's a teacher, and I was like, that's going to be my future as well. And then we were in a math class together, 2 semesters, and she followed through and I didn't. So here we are today. Let's dive right into it. First of all, how in the world do you put up with Ethan?
It's a little difficult, mostly because he's very messy at home. And he loves peanut butter, and he leaves peanut butter on the walls sometimes.
What? He leaves peanut butter on the walls?
Yes.
Tell us a little more about that.
I just
how does it get there?
I don't know. I closed the door, and then I'm like, I have peanut butter on my hand, and I don't even like peanut butter, so it must be from Ethan.
Our cameraman is turning so red right now.
Sorry for embarrassing you.
This is like the Tim Talks version of Tell All. This is great. You guys are getting some good info here. Okay.
But he's like really good at cleaning the kitchen when he actually does clean, and he helps me a lot in my classroom and is very supportive.
Let's talk about buying a home. So you've been thinking about that for a while now. Mm-hmm. Tell me, what are some apprehensions that you have that other people might have when it comes to thinking about buying a house?
Yeah, so I have always heard 20% down. And nowadays with home prices, it's kind of intimidating. Do I have to have 20% down? How much money do I need in savings when I go to buy a house? Or financially, what does that look like?
Yeah, no, that's a huge fear for a lot of people. And I do, when I talk to a lot of people for the first time, they immediately say, I don't have $70, $80, $100,000 lying around. How in the world am I going to be able to do this? Well, according to Dave Ramsey, you should put 20% down, right? But for the average first-time home buyer, it can be as low as 3% down. So if you're buying a $500,000 house, that down payment could be right around 12 or 15 grand or so. Mm-hmm. So now instead of looking at 100 grand, 15 is a lot easier for a lot of people to handle. So if you're getting an FHA or conventional loan, FHA is 3.5%, conventional is 3%. A lot of people will put down that minimum down payment. And sure, your mortgage payment's going to be a little bit bigger, and you're going to have primary mortgage insurance, not as expensive as people think it is. It's actually what I call the boogeyman, because it's really I think mine. So I just recently bought a house, and I have primary mortgage insurance. I think it's $60 a month, right? So a handful of change. So it's not as scary as people think. And then most people spend 5 years in their house, an average of 5 years in their house. So if you are just going to go ahead and sell your house again in 5 years, why would you dump all of your money? Why would you dump 20%, even if you did have it on hand? Why would you dump 20% into that house if you're just going to pull it right back out in a couple of years? I mean, it will lower your mortgage payment just a little bit, but then you can save that cash and do other things. Maybe you can think about investing in a rental property, all those other things. So 3%, 5%, 5% is usually a good number to just be safe on the safe side. You do have to remember closing costs, but at the end of the day, it's not, for the average first-time home buyer, you're not looking at 100 grand.
Sweet.
Yeah.
If you do have PMI, do you have that, if I do stay in my house for longer than 5 years, how long do I have my PMI? The whole time I'm in the house, or does that like get adjusted?
Yeah. So that can also be, like some people are like, I don't want to pay this for the life of the loan. Well, if you qualify for a conventional loan, which is generally the loan, a lot of people like to get into those conventional loans because they generally have better terms, and the payments can be smaller, and the primary mortgage insurance only lasts up until 20% equity, or until you have 20% equity in the house. So once you get up to 20% equity in the house, that primary mortgage insurance goes away. So I think for me, it's like 10 years. The first 10 years of my mortgage, my payment's gonna be about, I think, $2,700. Then after those 10 years, my payment's gonna be like $2,640, right? So it will drop off. Now with an FHA loan, that stays for the life of the loan. So if it is an FHA loan, that'll always be there. But like I said, if you're only in the house for 5 years, then what are you worried about?
Yeah.
Right.
Are there like ways that you could gain equity in your home, like aside from your monthly payment?
So by putting more down into the house? Absolutely. So, and it depends on the terms of your loan, right? So if you, there are some lenders, you can make a balloon payment. So let's say Ethan wins the lottery, and we're really hoping on that. If Ethan hits the lottery, then he can take, let's say he takes 20 grand of that, he could put it back into his house. Now, some lenders don't allow that, or they will make you pay a fee to do that because they want the interest.
Yeah.
They want you to have to slowly bleed to death. but if they do allow you to do that, that's, if you have some extra funds on the side, you don't have to just wait for 30 years for it to happen. You can pay off the home. Let's talk about house hacking. So house hacking is something that I'm currently doing. It's something I encourage every young person who wants to buy a house to do. And that is to pick 2 to 3, maybe even 4 of your most trusted and closest people that you know that would want to live with you. Purchase the house, as long as you qualify for it, obviously. And then you're going to have to qualify for it. I don't know what I'm saying. So get into the house. You've got a few people that want to live with you. And then as long as it's comfortable and you're able to live in harmony together, have them living there and paying you rent. It'll do wonders for you. It's a great plan. It's a great way to build equity in your house without having to lose your monthly payment. And if you're going to rent, it's going to be close to that anyway. But if you could rent from yourself for $500 and have a couple other people live in the house with you, I highly recommend it. It's, you have to find the right people to live with. You're going to get people that piss you off. There might be some, okay, we need to talk about this moments. But if you're able to house hack, I'd really, really encourage that for the first, 5 to 10 years of your life. Probably not 10 years. That's kind of a long time. But, 5 years, if you can do it, I'd highly recommend it.
How do home renovations, would that affect like the finances, or is that just like once you have your home, you can do anything to it? How does that how does it affect changing the value of your home?
Sure. So adding improvements or adding stuff onto your house is a great idea. I mean, obviously you're going, as long as it's the right thing, right?
Yeah.
Don't mess up your house. But if you add on, if you put in higher quality finishes, if you upgrade certain things in your homes, a lot of people like to get into these older homes and take Formica countertops and put granite countertops in. They like to take the old bathroom fixtures out and put some nice new, brushed, I think it's like brushed copper is like a thing right now. It's like everyone loves that. It's pretty, it's clean. I like it. Repaint the house, replace the siding, stuff like that. Absolutely. That is what we call equity building or sweat equity. You put the work in, and it's going to cost you cash up front, but the investment that you put into the house. So let's say you put $3,000 into painting the interior of your house, and then you turn around and sell that house. You're probably going to be able to get about $5,000 out of that investment, right? So your $3,000 investment, because you did the work, you set it up, it's all done, you can probably charge about an additional $5,000 onto your house at that point. So absolutely, sweat equity is a great way to build the value of your home. For example, what I'm doing right now is I bought a 3-story home that doesn't have AC. And for those of you who've never lived on the 3rd floor of a 3-story home, it's hot as hell. And so what's happening next week is I've got a guy who, I was able to negotiate a deal with him. He's going to put an air conditioning unit in my house, and that's going to greatly increase the value of the home because it was already plumbed for AC. We just have to put the unit in. And now the next person that buys that house, or if I want to put renters in that, additional renters in that at some point, that's going to pay huge dividends.
Yeah. So if I want a house hack, but we're also thinking about starting a family and I don't want to share like common spaces, if I were to like convert my garage into like a studio apartment, do you think that'd be like increase the value of my home because I have like a second unit, or is getting rid of the garage not a great idea?
Sure. So there's actually certain laws about living in garages.
Okay.
So I'd have to look this up again, but I'm pretty sure that city code doesn't allow
it.
you to
Okay.
turn that into something. But here's what I would say. My favorite, what's it called, Ethan? When it's like, it's like WTF, FYI. What's it called?
Acronym?
Acronym.
Okay.
Thank you. Teacher, thank you. Acronym.
Yeah.
Is ADU, additional dwelling unit.
Yeah.
If you are able to buy a house that has something on site that you can turn into a separate living quarters, adding an ADU is huge because, yes, it allows you to have a separate living space and you can rent it out to Joe Schmo or whatever random person walks off the street without having to, share the space with them. I mean, there's always an argument for buying a duplex and living in one half and renting out the other half. I love that idea. Buying a duplex is great. I think some people don't realize that's kind of difficult to do sometimes because let's say, you have to live in one side and rent out the other side. That's going to be a pretty hefty cost to buy that place. It's going to be probably, if it's a nicer place, it's going to be upwards of $600,000. And if you're a first-time home buyer, that's a pretty hefty price at the beginning. So duplexes are great. House hacking, in my opinion, is better. An ADU, golden.
So when I'm going to buy a house, like how long should that process take?
Sure, yeah. So I like to meet with people as far out as a year before they buy that house. And everyone goes, wow, that's a long time to be thinking about buying a house. But it flies by. And a lot of times when people meet with me, they're not quite ready yet. Not just, we're still not ready to move yet, but they're not ready financially. They're not necessarily ready mentally. So it's really good to start talking to a realtor, talking to professionals, talking to a lender roughly a year in advance, because then that gives you plenty of time to set stuff up. The worst thing that you can possibly do, and I get so many people that do this, is they go see a house or they find something on Zillow, they send it to me, and then they're like, we love this place. This is the place for us. And I'm like, guys, we haven't even talked yet. Yeah. We're not ready for this. And you don't want to curb their enthusiasm like that because they're really excited about it. But it's like, we haven't gotten pre-approved. We haven't talked about if you're ready for this. We don't know what the rest of your living situation is right now. Like, we need to, put on the brakes, but you have to do it in the nicest way possible, right?
Yeah.
So about a year in advance is what I recommend. In terms of a pre-approval, those last between 30 to 90 days. So you want to set yourself up to have the best pre-approval possible, but you don't necessarily need to have that pre-approval until 30 to 90 days out from buying, because you don't want that thing to expire. They pull your credit again, your credit score goes down. Now you're not pre-approved for as much in your loan. So really, 3 months or so is when I like to have people start earnestly. 3 to 4 months is when I have people start earnestly looking at houses. We go, what I'll do is about 6 months out, I'll start sending them stuff. I'll send them listings. I set them up with this property search. It pumps emails right to their doorstep every single day with property. So I get them excited about it. And then with about 3 or 4 months to go, that's when we actually start going and looking at properties. And I tell them right off the bat, we're going to look at something and you're going to love it. And we're just going to walk out of there and we're going to find what we want. We're going to find exactly what you guys want, so that when the time comes and when you're about a month or two away from your actual buying goal, like the day you want to step into your house, we walk into another place that you're like, oh, hell yeah, this is it. Then we are ready to strike that same afternoon. We can write an offer. We call our lender. They pump out the pre-approval in 2 hours and we're set to go. So that's a little bit of the timeline. And that's, So if you're thinking about buying a house, you're like, this is something I want to do. I would say, if you're thinking you want to do that within a year, go ahead and sit down with a realtor, Preferably me. Yeah, great question. Great question. So the next question that I have for you, I appreciate your questions, is what's your motivation to buy a house? A lot of people have different motivations. Some people, it's their lifelong goal. Some people, they want to start investing, building their investment portfolio. So what's behind wanting to buy a house?
No more awful apartment neighbors is
freaking man.
The biggest one. And then also a yard for my dog, and then just more space so that hopefully we can start a family.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely starting a family. And you know, I mean, a lot of people in this day and age say they don't want the white picket fence. I love the white picket fence.
Yeah.
I think it's a great, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And so are you thinking you want to get into a place that is like the forever place, or do you want to get into a place that's like a starter right off the bat?
Well, probably a starter, because we do want to like make that jump kind of quickly so that we can start building equity, and then look for something that's more like the forever home.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't realize, but I accidentally started a buyer consultation in the middle of our episode today. We'll veer away from those questions. Those are for a later date. No, that's awesome.
Well, when I'm looking for a house, are there certain things that have a better like resale value? Like has to have 2 bathrooms, or like single level, like if this is just my starter home, what should I look for? Absolutely.
That is a fantastic question, because a really big mistake you can make is buying something that is a starter, that you consider to be a starter, and then not being able to get some value out of it on the back end. So yes, absolutely. First thing I would say is location. Buy something in a location that people want or need that location, or buy it in a location that is soon to be a location that people want or need. Make sure that wherever you're going is a location people want to go as well. Number 2, I would say pick a home that suits the average person's needs. When you're selling your home, you want your home to be average, okay? Yeah. And I mean that in the best possible way. You want it to be what people are looking for. It doesn't need to be super rare on either end of the spectrum. So it doesn't be super rare and like, oh my God, this is the perfect home that everyone's looking for. It doesn't need to be, you definitely don't want it to be super rare in terms of, oh God, no one wants this, right? You want it to be somewhere right in the middle of like, this is what a majority of people are looking for. Single family, single level is good. 2 levels just as fine. I mean, you're going to have some people who are like, I hate one or the other, right? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, that doesn't matter as much. But I would say, yes, the majority of people want 2 bathrooms. Gotta have 2 bathrooms.
Yeah.
The amount of people that are buying homes as an individual is lower. And even those people say, hey, if I have guests over, if I have a friend over, I don't want to have 1 bathroom. I need at least 1.5, if not 2 full bathrooms. And then 2 to 3 bedrooms is a good idea as well. I mean, unless this is a really small place, which again is a completely different market, mm-hmm. then you're going to want, I always love 3-2. That's a great number to have. This is one that people don't think about, but is really important. Parking. You need to buy a home that has parking, and some people don't think about that until they have already made the mistake of buying a home that has terrible parking or terrible neighbors. Not just the location doesn't just matter, but what's at the location, the amenities at the location. Are you going to be parking your car next to somewhere that looks like it's going to get broken into, or are you going to have a nice driveway to drive into? That's really important. That's going to add to your resale value. There are several things like this that can add to your resale value. So we've talked about a lot of serious stuff on this show. Hopefully this has been really informative for you guys. I love talking about this stuff because it reminds me of the things that I need to remind my clients of. I think hopefully it's helpful for you because
it's great.
It gets you a little snapshot into what you can be looking forward to. But enough of that. Give us a really, really, really embarrassing Ethan story.
I don't really know. Well, one time, I don't know any really. That's like good to share.
Come on. Tim Talks is authentic. We are genuine and we share this kind of stuff.
He's a really great dancer. I don't know if this is like embarrassing for him in the moment that it happened, but It might be embarrassing for other people to know. So he's like a really great dancer, So one time
Ethan.
I was
Ooh.
picking him up from work at George Fox on campus, and I pulled up and I was listening to music, so I like started pumping my music really loud, and he started like strip dancing to the car, and it was really good.
Ethan,
Yeah,
that is not appropriate. I can't believe
On
my
campus.
listeners are going to
Yeah.
be scarred for
Maybe
life.
cut that one out. I
That's
don't
really
know.
impressive. Okay, Ethan,
Yeah.
you've got some balls on you, Ethan. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Oh man, that's a pretty embarrassing. Well, it's not embarrassing. It's not embarrassing in the moment because probably no one saw him. But now that all my listeners are gonna hear that, then you know what? I'm gonna make sure that when we edit this, that goes in there.
That stays in.
That stays in there. I direct this show, even if he produces it. That's staying in there. That's good stuff. Okay, well, thank you for giving us a little snapshot
course.
into Ethan, the peanut butter spreader, and the strip dancer. Yeah.
Oh no, that's a little much.
spreads peanut butter on the walls and then strip teases. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. We love all 31 flavors here at Tim Talks. So hopefully everyone out there, you're able to take away something from this. Next week we'll be bringing in a former buyer, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his experience buying a house with yours truly. Best customer ever. I say that about all my clients. So anyway, Heidi, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Tim Talks. Hopefully you guys out there were able to get something out of this. I know I did. Hopefully you did as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was great.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back, and Ashley, the best co-host in the world, is going to join us for Ashley's Corner. Welcome back to Tim Talks, guys. I am here with the greatest co-host in the world, Ashley.
Hello.
We are both tweaking today because I'm like going through ketosis right now, and she's 2 Red Bulls deep. So we really apologize for whatever comes out of our mouths at this point. But welcome to Ashley's Corner. Although Ashley might want to change the name of that because she doesn't like being put in a corner.
Ashley's chair.
Ashley's chair. Welcome to Ashley's chair. So we're going to have a couple really cool ideas. Share with us real quick some of the things that we're going to be featured in the upcoming episodes on Ashley's Corner.
So we are going to be doing some fun interactive games. So you're going to want to make sure that if you are not already watching us on YouTube, that you do, because we have some fun games.
Visual.
Yeah, we're going to do some fun visual games, maybe challenges, trivia,
But we want people to listen on Spotify too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's the OG.
Yeah.
But, also on YouTube as well, so you can see what we're actually doing, all the craziness that goes on with the cameras. You know what I
We
mean?
might even involve Ethan. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We have to
Yeah,
think
let's
about
go,
it.
Ethan.
we'll think about it. That's awesome. Okay.
Yes.
But on Ashley's Corner, we ask one thing that has just been on your brain, which, by the way, I love the outfit today.
Thanks.
It's like casual, but also thuggin'.
Blueberry.
A little bit of blueberry mixed with like hungover, maybe. No, I'm kidding.
Now that's cheap.
Is there something you need to tell us? No. So what's on Ashley's mind today?
So right now I am budgeting for a wedding. So I am trying to keep that in the back of my mind.
Sure.
But at the same time, like today I bought a hula hoop off Amazon. Like those ones for like weight loss. They have a weight loss. It's not just a hula hoop, but it's a weight loss hula hoop.
There are easier ways.
And you know what's really cool? It's with Prime. So I literally bought it yesterday when we were on our way to Olive Garden, and now it's coming today.
How expensive was the wedding dress? Because you already bought it, right?
Well, thanks, Mom. My mom bought it for me.
Thank you, Heather. We love Heather.
Yeah, same. Definitely a Heather. But I think, and I don't know, Heidi, if you know, but I think the dress was $1,300, and that was on a sale. We went in July. In July, they were having this big sale going on. So I think it was originally $1,500, but it wasn't.
Wow.
But I also got like my veil and this nice headpiece, and so I think total it was probably at $1,500. And we haven't even done like alterations yet. That's gonna be another probably $500 grand. Sorry, babe.
Does she know this yet?
Everybody, you're bringing your own chairs to this wedding. Make sure to eat a light snack ahead of time.
Is it like one of those like $90 a plate kind of weddings? That's awesome.
Oh, it's gonna be tacos, man.
Ooh,
Yeah.
tacos. Chicken, brisket,
Steak.
steak.
Yeah, and then we're gonna have
Fire.
like a chips and salsa table to just munch on.
Oh, hell
Originally, it was
yeah.
gonna be a nacho table, but then we thought it'd get too soggy.
Are you getting anything like I don't know, some people do like an ice cream truck, like shaved ice, or are you just like doing the typical wedding cake or
So I think we're gonna get a nice wedding cake for like us, and then everybody else gets cupcakes with our faces on them. I'm not even joking.
yeah.
Larissa keeps telling me we're gonna put our face on these cupcakes, so I'm like, okay.
How? Like a picture? Like an
Yeah.
edible picture?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can eat my face.
Finally. Oh God. I'm just picturing Ethan eating you and your fiance's face.
All in that beard.
Thank God you guys cannot see what he's doing in the corner right now. It's horrifying.
So are we sure this isn't Ethan's corner?
Yeah. The whole podcast is Ethan's corner.
Oh, it really
is. That's awesome. I don't know. We need to talk about something here. I haven't been invited to the wedding.
Oh, stop that.
But to be fair, I started working here like
You made the cut.
after she got engaged.
Oh my gosh.
So I was just about to say I can't wait to eat your face at your wedding. Then I remembered I wasn't invited to the
I
wedding.
haven't sent invitations out.
Okay. All right.
It's
Okay,
next June.
okay.
We still
No,
have time.
Okay.
So that's why no
all right. You know what? I haven't been crying myself to sleep about it every night, but
But I am hoping you'll have a drink at the wedding because
that is.
I've never
yes.
seen Tim have a drink.
Yes. This is also a very important topic that we can discuss here. Let's get into it. Let's dive into this. Okay.
Oh, okay. We're getting deep.
Let's get into it. Why do you think Tim does not drink in public?
Well, I feel like otherwise, have you seen him shake right now? Like already? I can only imagine what a little bit of like tequila or vodka or White Claw might do to you. You might go crazy.
It might balance me out.
Maybe that.
I'm currently going through ketosis right now, so the
Maybe
added
help calm
carbs
him.
might help me. Yeah. So, yes.
Yes.
To a certain extent, I went out the other night to Langer's Family Fun Entertainment Center to bowl. I had one IPA and it was catastrophic.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, well, not catastrophic, okay? But, you know, I was loud and kind of forgot that there was other people in the building. And we're talking about an IPA this big. So, yeah, it lightweight doesn't even begin to describe it. And, yeah, I'm really, really afraid of what will happen.
That makes me wonder though, like, is it because like how much do you eat in a day?
That's probably like, well, okay, when I'm bulking or cutting.
Well, I was just gonna say in general.
There's
but-
bulking, and during bulking seasons, probably about 3,500 to 4,000 calories.
Okay.
And in that space, it is about, you know, it's all about protein, carbs. You got to make sure your calories are pretty high. You're taking a mass gainer, which is like this crazy protein powder.
Dang.
And then when you cut, it is you kind of go down about 500 calories a day. You cut out a lot of carbs, and it's just mostly lean protein.
Okay, so what are you doing now?
I'm currently cutting, which is why I feel like I'm gonna
Oh, that's
die.
probably I was gonna
Which
say.
is why I walked into the studio this morning like this. and I had an otter pop in my hand. I was like, something in my system to get, because I looked like I was tweaking out. So that goes hand in hand with drinking alcohol. If I drink alcohol at this point, the effect is like 3 times. I am the cheapest date. My girlfriend loves it. not that she pays for my stuff, but at least I'm my own cheap date.
There you go.
And yeah, one IPA cuts it. So yes, should I be invited to the wedding? Because, you know, just like a deal, you never want to say it's a done deal until it's a done deal. I could greatly offend you, and you could redact a wedding invite. But let's just say that I'm at your wedding. I will have one drink, but we will cut it there. Because if we go any further, then catastrophe will occur, and Ethan's gonna carry me home.
Hey, there you go.
I think this has been the best Ashley's Corner. Well, it's the second Ashley's Corner we've ever had.
Say.
It's the best Ashley's Corner we've ever had. All right, guys. Thank you again for watching another episode of Tim Talks. Hopefully you found this entertaining and enjoyable. Make sure to follow us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Drop a like and a comment on YouTube. We will see you next week. We will be back. Roll the outro music.